like about yourself, like, what you do, and yeah, what problems can I help you with?
So I mean, it's quite different from obviously my full-time job. Um, so it's more like a side hustle that I try to start like late last year.
Yep.
Just want to kind of like focus on at the moment, just kind of like men's jewelry. We're sort of we started off with rings. We want to move on to like expand the range into like kind of bracelets and chains. But yeah, at the moment with the rings, just we've been running kind of like Instagram and Facebook ads, but haven't really got much, got many leads or any sales through that. So I'm just
Yep.
wondering like how we could improve or go about it. I'm not sure if it's like the products or like the way we're advertising or if it's
Yep.
like the lack of range that we have. Yeah, so I'm not
Mm.
quite sure
Yep.
what is happening with that business. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Um,
great. Actually, do you want to give me a little bit more background first? Like, do you do this like full time? Like, are you in the ring game full time at the
okay,
moment,
no,
or
so I'm
yeah,
I'm pretty new to everything. Okay, so
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much like myself, I'm a CT application specialist.
yeah,
So I went to the same uni, we're in the same cohort, and also I worked with her for a bit as well.
right,
So I was a radiographer, and then now I
yeah,
moved on to CT applications. So instead of doing clinical work, I'm
yeah,
now doing training and application support when a CT machine is being installed.
right,
So I
right,
help
right. Got it.
train different radiographers around Australia. So I do a lot of flying interstate as well.
Okay, cool.
We train radiographers,
Yep,
doctors, or anyone that basically need any application help with CT.
yep,
So the ring business is something very different to what I'm doing. I'm doing it more like a casual basis,
yeah,
just
got it.
to try to like starting this business. I wanted to kind of get a bit of experience
Mm.
with kind of like business and e-commerce.
Yeah,
Um, so because depending on how this go, I potentially have like another idea I want to kind of put out.
mm.
So this was kind of like a almost like a pilot, and
Yep.
I thought it would do a bit better, but it's not going the way I expected at all.
Yeah,
So
yep,
until I can sort this out, I don't think I can proceed with anything else. So it's more
yep,
like
yep.
a test to kind of see whether this sort of like e-commerce thing is for me or not before
Got it.
I make further commitments with like other stuff.
Yeah. That's so good. Like you started this before committing to like the main thing because you're like, holy
Yeah.
fuck, the marketplace is like brutal. You're like, Jesus Christ, this is actually a lot harder than I thought it'd be.
Yeah,
Right.
it is.
Yeah.
So, like before, like when I was a few years ago, quite a number of years ago now, like my friend and I sort of got into kind of e-commerce here and there, but we didn't really put as much effort in. Like we didn't really know what to do with like advertising or things like that. Our contents or like photography and everything, like product photos is very like basic. But this time I actually put a bit of effort in
Yeah.
and not seeing like anything, like not seeing any results. I just want to kind of see what obstacle is there just so I can learn personally as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. Cool. Before we like jump into anything as well, do you want to tell me like how did this get started? Like how did you start, East Movement? What was like the inspiration for the brand and like what gave you this idea?
Yeah. So, well, like the idea is kind of like, I don't know if it's still concrete or not, but pretty much what I want to do, I was want to introduce like more Asian sort of jewelry, like jade jewelry for men. So that's kind of where the inspiration came from, like East movement kind of thing. Having more Eastern style jewelry and also accommodating for the Western style as well, such as like normal um like silver rings, but instead of having stainless steel or silver, I went for titanium, which is kind of like a different sort of material. So I wanted to be a bit more niche compared to the general stainless steel out there. Um, yeah, which is like, more lightweight and supposedly more durable and everything.
Yeah.
But the focus was, or the vision was kind of like more Eastern style jewelry, kind of leaning towards some jade products, but also having a variety of Western products as well, or like,
Yeah.
your normal minimal jewelry kind of thing.
Hmm. Yep. 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 Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And with your ads, like, can you tell me what did you try with the ads and what type of results were you seeing? I know you said you didn't make any sales, but
Mm.
then in terms of like how long did you run the campaigns for? What type of creative were you running?
Yeah.
And like how many impressions slash views and whatnot were you getting?
Yeah. So in terms of impressions, I think so we're running a lot of like um so I've got an Instagram account, and
Mhm.
the campaigns usually I have, so we had like a Christmas campaign and then kind of like a Lunar New Year campaign. It runs for, I think both ran for like 2 weeks or so, kind of around there. We're
Yeah.
getting like a few, I can't remember, I have to look at the stats, but I think we're getting like a few thousand impressions, which is, it kind of meets a target, but I realized the audience is more towards females and kind of
Interesting.
like towards
For
older men, which is like the age range of like, 50 and 60s. Whereas I
sure.
was kind of hoping more towards like a younger generation,
Yep.
people
Yep.
around there, like late 20s, 30s, kind of around there. Um, so yeah, that's where I was kind of a bit confused, like because I had someone else running or help run campaigns and like content creation, and he's kind of new to it as well, so he's not familiar with marketing. So we had another meeting a few weeks ago, and we
Yep.
kind of just divided the roles a bit more specific to what he's good at.
Yep.
On top of the normal like sale campaigns like Christmas and Lunar New Year's, I also had like a promotional campaign going, which is mainly through Instagram. So it has a structure of like, the first 200 followers will get
Mhm.
like
The post.
free
Yep.
gift voucher, and then
Yep.
yeah, so the one
Hmm.
that's on the Instagram, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know if you saw the Instagram or not.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I had a quick like skim through your Instagram and
Yeah,
saw the posts and stuff. Photography looks amazing, by the way. Did a great job
uh,
on that. Looks
thank
really
you.
good.
Yeah, it was like shared between my content creator and myself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 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 Okay. Cool. That sounds good. And just to like confirm, how much did you spend on ads before you called it quits and was like, this is clearly not working. I need to give up on this.
I
And
think,
second question to build on that is how many ad variations did you have? Like how many creative variations did you have?
oh, like from what I know, like because the content creator helped me run ads, because I'm very like noob with ads. I have no idea like
Yeah.
how to create campaigns, what to set and everything. So he set up most of the stuff.
Yeah.
I think in terms of variation, we only got kind of like one ad, but in different formats, like Instagram story, Facebook, and
Yeah.
post or stories. So
Mm,
that's in those few variations.
got it.
And budget, I think it came down to about, I think, I don't know, $1 or $2 a day kind of thing over the period of however long. So we weren't dropping a huge amount of money on,
Yeah.
the ads. It was kind of like towards the lower end.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. So, like, would you say all up, you might have spent like $60 in ads, and then you were like, "Oh, I'm going to call it quits. This is probably unsuccessful." And did you run it for 30 days? Did you run it for 10 days? Did you run it for 5 days? Like, what was the duration there?
Um, Duration. I'll have to kind of
Just
double check
ballpark.
that,
Like,
but
doesn't have
yeah, I
doesn't have
reckon
to be
I reckon
exact.
about
Yeah,
$100 or so. And
$100. Yeah.
um, so we've got the launch promotion, Christmas, and the Lunar New Year, three of them, and the launch one maybe ran about 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, maybe let's say anywhere from around $50 per ad campaign.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and then like sometimes I'll boost like certain Instagram posts,
Yeah,
which maybe spend like $15 for that. So maybe altogether with across the whole range, maybe like $100.
yeah, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And you'd say like you ran it for probably like 3 weeks, right? Was like the duration, 3, 4 weeks?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe each
Okay.
campaign, maybe about 2 weeks. The launch one, maybe about 3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably around there.
Got
Yeah.
it. Cool, cool, cool. And yeah, I know you said this is like a test thing, but like how serious are you trying to take this? Like, are you, very, very passionate about this like ring business? Do you have any like long-term visions or plans for it? Or is this kind of just like a testing ground? You just want to like mess around a little bit and just get your bearings on marketing and the ecom game so you can go into your
Yeah.
next thing.
So,
Hmm.
well, I gotta admit, like the passion has died off over time.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
for sure.
it's still there. I still want it to be successful, but I
Yeah.
think because like on top of because when I started that, I kind of
Mhm.
moved to a new job, so there was a lot happening, and
Yeah.
even now the job has taken a lot of my energy away
Yeah.
from the business.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like on the back burner. Like I
Hmm.
haven't given up on it, but I'm also not kind of obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
Yeah.
think like yeah, it was more of a kind of like experiment in a way.
Yeah.
But like even though it's like an experiment and it's
Mhm.
not like yeah, if it becomes more successful, I might end up investing more time and energy into it, and my
Yeah.
view on the whole brand could
For sure.
change, you know.
For sure.
But at the moment, it's kind of like, oh, I'm on the fence of whether
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether this is really going to work and if it's still worth all that mental kind of energy
Yeah.
behind it.
Okay. Got
Um,
it. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
so I'm a bit kind of on the fence with it. I was, more passionate about it.
At the start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Cool. Okay, so you're not really like sure what the long-term like future holds for you at the moment. You're kind of sitting in this weird space where you don't want to give up yet, but then you're losing passion quite quickly, and it's
Yeah,
yeah, you're
because I
kind of in
think
this
what I
weird middle
want
ground.
to do is have it sustainable and just like I'm not, I don't have the vision of it, turning into some major brand with like a store kind of thing. I want something that's
Yeah.
kind of remains online, with, some kind of just like some extra income on the side.
Right.
But
Yep.
then so that's my vision on it at the moment.
Right.
But depending on how successful it becomes, like I'm not really sure yet because yeah, my
Yep.
my goal is to have that kind of running on the side, and then if
Yep.
it becomes successful with all the experience, I'll carry on to kind of my next idea
Yep.
where I'm probably a bit more passionate in,
Right.
and
Are,
yeah.
are you willing to go into tens of thousands of dollars in deficit, like loss in this business for minimum 2 years before you see it work? Do you see yourself
Mm,
eating glass for that long?
yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, probably not.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, I think I'm just trying to gauge what it takes for it to like just
To be
run.
successful.
Yeah, not like,
Yeah.
fully blown up, but for it to
Yeah.
make sales and just be like, just have like some sort of extra income, maybe a few sales a week,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously I know the more marketing, everything you put in it,
Yeah.
the more it'll get out there. I'm trying to find like almost like a middle ground where I'm not
Oh,
bleeding too.
I'm so sorry. My cat just got out. Ricky, buddy, get back here. Sorry, it's about it. Go somewhere he shouldn't have gone. Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
No, that's all right.
He's gone a little rogue.
Yeah, that's okay. So yeah, I'm kind of just trying to find like a comfortable ground where I'm not pumping tens of thousands
Yeah.
into it. If yeah, but
Yeah.
then I don't know if it's kind of like an all or nothing
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. It's very refreshing to hear because I've been in your exact situation before.
Mm.
So I started my first business as a men's barber, actually. So I think when I was in uni, I started, um, getting a passion for cutting hair, and I was just like, oh my god, like this is so much fun. I just want to cut hair all day. This is going to be my future, right? And
Yeah.
then that was my first business where I had no idea how to cut hair, never learned from anybody, literally self-taught in a bathtub with my brother, cutting his hair, and 8 hours of YouTube like every single day. And
Awesome.
then, yeah, that took me 3 years, and I built that to like, it was like a decent like 5-figure at home business, right? And I was just doing it like on the side. And then I was like, okay, I want something bigger. I want to make, more impact, and I want to have like a more like mature skill set rather than being a barber. So what I ended up doing was like, I was like, I want to learn another skill set. I'm going to teach myself how to do SEO, which is search engine optimization. And once again, zero experience, never did marketing. I was a commerce degree major in accounting and finance. And then I was like, bro, like, fuck it. I'm just going to learn how to do SEO. Like anyone can become anything, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
once again, like that whole process has taken me like, I think I'm in like 2.5 years now, right? And then I built this thing into a 6-figure agency. So we did like 6 figures like last financial year. So I know what it's like to go from zero and then to build up that skill set, especially in a field that you've never been in before. So I can tell you right now, having done it 2 times, that it's going to take a minimum of 2 to 3 years, and you're not going to see much success in the first like 2 years. So it wasn't till my like second year in this business did I crack 6 figures, but I cracked like 5 figures in my first year. But that was like mainly due to having experience in the first business as well. So all of that experience like builds up over time. So right now, I'll just like quickly share my screen and like whiteboard some stuff with you. I'll show you like where you are in the game,
Yeah.
and yeah, all the things I think like you should be doing because like I've done it before essentially. So right now, like, you started here, right? Where you're like really happy. You're like, oh my God, this is going to be great. This is going to be fantastic. Like, I'm going to run a couple of ads and people are going to start buying my stuff. I'm going to be making side income. It's going to be fucking sick, right? And then, the more like you go along, you're like, wait a second, this is pretty hard. Like I'm making Instagram posts and like people aren't really engaging with it. Aside from a couple of friends that have bought, no one's really buying. I'm putting all this time and effort in after work and nothing's really happening. You're like, fuck, this is hard. And then this is called like Valley of Despair. So this is where you're like, oh my God, this is actually like really hard. Damn. So, you're going to be in here for at least like this is from now to like 1 year. And this
Yeah.
whole stage is just negative dollars. It's just negative dollars. Like this whole stage is just, I'm paying tuition. I'm paying the world to learn how to make money, how to actually create opportunity from nothing. Because as you've seen, the world is a fucking unforgiving place. Like if you're not good, if you're not great in the marketplace, like people aren't going to pay you, right?
Yeah.
So being good is literally like not good enough. Like you need to be great because like there's just so many competitors out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, you might make a little bit of money, but for the most part, your expenses during this stage are going to far outweigh any revenue that you make. Like you forget about being profitable in the first year, because most of the time it's not going to happen unless you've had like prior experience before, or you just somehow got into a fantastic industry by sheer luck. But for the most part, like for us mere mortals, this stage is going to fucking hurt and it's going to suck. So then what ends up happening is like you come over to this like, sorry, let me just erase that. You come over to the, oh, that's not the eraser. You come over to the like, I would say like the 1 to 2 year stage, which is like what I call, I'm going to give it like a straight face. It's like the competency stage. So this is where you actually start to get to a level where you're semi-professional. Like you're starting to get good, because once you've been eating glass every single day, pouring your 5 to 9 in, like 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. every single day, like week on week, you're gonna pick up a few things. You're gonna start to get a little groovy, like with your marketing tactics, right? You're gonna figure out what works, what doesn't work. And this is where like things are not bad. Like you're gonna get some cash, right? And things, you know, might start to get into the green. So like the green dollars are bigger than the red dollars at this stage, typically, right? But you're not gonna make much. You're gonna make like a couple of $1,000 here and there, and you're gonna be working way more hours than like what you're bringing in. It's gonna be pain still, but you're gonna see like some progress. And then this from here, 2 to 3. 2 to 3 is what I call I'm going to change up the drawing here. 2 to 3 is what I call like the pro stage. It's like the professional stage. So now you're like ready to play with the bigger boys. So this is where like you start developing a process. Like things are working now. They're not working like magnificently, but they're starting to work, and they're starting to show repeatable signs of success, right? And you're starting to get glimpses that you can actually maybe scale this thing, because now you figured out how to do ads properly, you figured out how to do creative, you figured out how to go to brand, and then now you're at this stage where you're just trying to tighten up and tidy up your business. Because right now I can imagine your business is like pretty messy right now, right? Like there's probably Google Sheets flying everywhere. Like there's fucking heaps of dashboards going everywhere, supply invoices coming in. It's like really hard to keep on top of everything.
Well, actually, at the moment, like I've got all the items, but it's just sitting there. So actually, right now, it's quite
okay.
Fine because everything's here, but it's just not going out.
There's just no activity.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, but during this stage here, you're gonna get like some activity, which is pretty good. And then the stage after is like 3+, where I call like the full-time stage. So that's like let me draw the best Monopoly man I can draw here.
Hey, that's pretty good. You've done it before,
huh? Yeah. Yeah. So this is the stage, like, you know, where after like 3+ years, maybe like 3 to 5 years, this is like where you start to make like, you know, some Monopoly money. Like you're going to be like 6+ figures on the way to like 7 soon. So yeah, this is basically like how it works if everything like goes according to plan. So yeah, obviously you're right here right now, so I wouldn't expect this thing to work unless you were willing to sink in and like survive this period here, which is 2 years. 2 years in this grand timeline doesn't look like a lot of time, but it's a huge amount of time to be eating glass and like failing every single day. Like that's what makes most people quit. Is it's not like the length of time, it's just repeatedly like just hitting roadblocks and like not having the ideas that you're putting out into the world not work. That's what like makes people quit, is repeated failure. But if you have repeated success over this period, it really encourages you to continue on to do what you know you need to do to get to this 3+ year stage. Now, you mentioned some points that I did want to bring up with you. First, you're saying like the passion is dying, right? And that you're getting to a stage where you're not obsessed with it. So my first like little bit of advice would be, this may not be the niche for you. And the reason I say that is because in order to do something like to stare, you know, in the face of death for like 2 whole straight years and just like failing, like 2 years, imagine like how long that is, just failing every day and like forking out money and not knowing when the money pit is going to end, is really hard, especially if you are doing something that you're not obsessed with. My first piece of advice to you is to find something that you don't care about the money. Like you're more obsessed with finding out the process to success than you are with the actual success. And what you kept saying to me is, I want to make sure that this business is successful. And you kept saying, depending on how successful it becomes, like already that should be a flag in your head to say, oh, maybe I'm not as passionate about this industry as I need to be. You know you're passionate about the industry when you say like, I don't care about the money. I just want to try to make this work. Like, I just love doing this. This is so much fun. That's the thing that you need to get into, right? Not
Yeah.
not the industry where it's like, yeah, oh, if I can get this to 6 figures, I'll be good. If I can get this to 7 figures, I'll be good, because you're going to end up building a business that you hate as well. Like, you're going to hate the journey the whole way. And the whole point of doing this is, you know, you want to learn, you want to get better, you want to grow as a person, but you also want to have fun along the way. You don't want to hate your life, right? By the end of it. So it's important to keep the end goal in mind and do something that you love. So that's probably like step one. If you're not super passionate about this, you know, I hate to like discourage people from continuing, but I would try to get the first step right, which is like, what do I actually love doing? Like, maybe I love teaching people about CT scans, like you were saying, and maybe I should start a business up around that. And all I should do at the start is I need to just go out there and educate people on TikTok and Instagram for free, because I fucking love it and I have so much knowledge about it. Like, maybe that's what I need to do. Or maybe you need to get into snowboarding, or maybe you need to get into something else. But, you know, people aren't going to buy from someone that isn't truly passionate about what they do and they're not truly an expert, right?
Yeah.
Or they're not willing to become an expert. So yeah, that's my first piece of advice. My second piece of advice to you is that with your testing, you had a really good idea to validate cheaply, which is like, you put $100 into the market and then you found out that the market didn't like what you had to offer. But the way you went about doing your ads could probably be a little bit better. So right now, with your ads, this is, let me just come down here. So with your ads, this is what you did. You did, oh, let me change the color because that's too hard to see. I'll change it. You know what color would you like to pick, Oliver? You can pick a color. You want to go blue, green? What do you want to do?
Let's go. Let's go violet.
Okay, you want to go
Or the one
violet.
underneath violet. Purple.
This one.
Go purple.
All right, let's go purple. Okay, so then this is like your FB ads, right? So this is typically what you want to do with any business venture that you want to get into is, before starting anything, the first thing you want to do is assess demand.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, it's, you know, it's all well and good to have a passion around deep sea jet skiing, right? But then you got to like double check, hey, before I like pour my life into this, do people actually want to do deep ski jet skiing? Like, you know, so what you want to do is first validate demand, and how you do that is you use Facebook ads, pretty similar to what you did. But in your next business, do not buy inventory until you figure out if there is demand for something. So it's just the same thing. It's like, do not invest in jet skis until you figure out if there is demand for this service, and then you save yourself a lot of heartache and like headache. So first off, like, what I would do is I would set a little bit of a bigger budget. So I would do like $300 into this, which is really cheap insurance, like, because you could be forking out tens of thousands or thousands of dollars on stock, inventory, and whatnot, right? So first I would do this, and then I would figure out what is my offer. So like, what am I going to put into the world to try to persuade people to buy from me? So typically, you know, when you launch a new product, right, you don't just launch it naked. You don't just say, hey, I'm selling rings for $300. Like, you typically put some sort of offer in there to entice people to buy, right? Because you need to. You have no brand, you have no connection with people, right? They don't know anything about your story. They don't trust you yet, right? They don't actually resonate with what you have to offer. So you need to create a compelling offer. So for example, like, if I was to do the underwater jet skiing thing, what I would say is like, I'm holding 14-day like free class. Sign up here. So I would say like, yeah, I'm holding like a 14-day free class, sign up here. And when someone clicks onto this, it will take them to a landing page where they can sign up to join your email waiting list. And then you'll see how many people join the waiting list. So you'll be like, 10 people joined, 20 people joined. Holy shit, 100 people joined. Holy crap, there's so much demand for this. This is crazy. And then you can then email those people later when you actually like, decide to do the course. Another thing you can do is like, like 30% off, or you can say like $100 for like 2 hours, or you can say like, free classes, like I was saying before, free 2 classes, etc., etc., right? There's many different offers that you can do, but you typically want to test which offer is the best offer, because you might have a very successful in-demand product, but your offer just sucks. So no one clicked on it, right? So you need to actually create a myriad of different compelling offers to put out into the marketplace. And then you need to put enough ammunition behind it to actually test whether or not it's like actually in demand or not. Because the $100 that you spend, like the $2 a day on one creative, is simply not enough. Like it could have just been your creative sucked. Like just like brutally honest, like it could have just been the creative was wrong. And it wasn't actually that no one has any passion for jade rings. We just didn't put out enough creative. And just to give you an idea, like, this is what you did, right? Like, this is your test creative, and you showed it to the world. Just like what we did with offers here, where we created more than one offer, the most successful Facebook ad campaigns have typically anywhere from like, I think 60 plus creatives. So there's like all of this. This is what they do. Like the most successful winners, their FB campaigns have this much creative compared to like what you tested. So you simply didn't do enough volume. Like I said, like you have to really be sure that your thing that like doesn't have any demand. Like you don't have to create 60 to start, because typically successful campaigns have like 60 pieces of creative going at like any particular point in time. But you need to make more than one. Like you got to make 10, or you got to make 20, or just do more than one. And typically what you do is you just edit out the first hook. So you create, for example, you do like one very like long video, and then you can like swap out the hook in the first 3 to 5 seconds for the first like 5 pieces of creative, and then go on and make another video and then just alter the hooks again. So that way you can also test like what hooks do people like. Like the hook is the first 5 seconds of a video. What's actually grabbing people's attention? Is it the low price? Is it the quality of the jade ring? Is it like when I show an image of a girl wearing a jade ring? Is it like when I show an image of a guy wearing a jade ring? Like you need to validate that with the market, and you can't rely on your own bias. Because you were like, I think my rings would ideally sell to males between like 20 to 40, right? And you're like, holy shit, I was surprised that the people that were actually engaging with my ad were females and 50-year-old males, right? So what is the data actually telling you? It's telling you that you guessed wrong, and your target audience is actually females and 50-year-old plus males, which actually makes sense when you think about it. Like, how many 20 to 40-year-old like men do you see wearing jade rings? Like zero, right? And how many 50-plus-year-old like men do you see wearing jade rings? Like quite a few. Like it's typically the uncles that wear the jade rings, right? Yeah, exactly. So that's like another lesson is, unless you're an influencer, like you cannot fabricate demand. I'll write it out here. Like you can't fabricate demand. You cannot fabricate demand. Like the market is a vicious place, like we were saying before. So you need to actually build something that the people want. You don't build something that you think the people want, right? Unless you're Steve Jobs or something and you're an absolute visionary that is so genius, and he knows exactly what people want, right? But he's like one in a million. But for the, like I said, for us mere mortals, like, yeah, you can't fabricate demand. Like if someone tried to sell you this bottle, it was like, Oliver, like you need this bottle, man, $49.99. unbelievable water taste. You know, the filtered water, as soon as it hits here, gets ice cold. You know, it's got this wonderful Anko branding on
I
it.
love it.
Yeah. And I'll be like, hey, bro, you want to buy this? You'll be like, probably not. But if you were trapped in the desert, right? And then you hadn't drank water for 4 days. And I said, Oliver, I'll sell you this bottle, $9.99.99. You would tap that card in a heartbeat, right? Because then there's demand at that point. Like you really want water at that point. So you would 100% like buy that.
Yeah.
You're dying, right? So yeah, you can't fabricate demand. Like you need to go and build something that people already want, and you have to serve the general public essentially. Like you need to serve your ideal customers and give them something that they want or solve a problem that they're having. So you can't, just go out and build something that you like unless you validate it first. Other people, you're like, oh, I like this. You're like, oh, I'm passionate about something. Other people like it too. I validated this. Like I got a lot of signups. The creative is doing well, and I've figured out now what's the people who actually like what I like, how they like to be served content. And you're like, great, I've figured that out. And then after that, it becomes a issue of getting your system to be reliable and repeatable. Because if you, what was the saying? It was something like, if you don't have it, don't scale it. Like if it's not consistent and it's not repeatable every single month, then don't amplify your problem. So like, let's say you started the ring business, right? But then your distributor was super unreliable, your supplier, right? Let's say suddenly, you have 100 boxes in your room, and then overnight you got 200 orders that came through. You're like, holy fuck, right? I didn't account for this level of demand. So then now you got to refund like those 100 customers, and then you can fulfill the 100 orders, right? And then let's just say, you try to order from the supplier again, and the supplier is like, sorry, bro, I don't have stock for 6 more months. You're like, bro, what? You're like, what? So you're out of business now. Like just like that, boom, gone. And then, you might try to pivot and be like, oh, let me sell these other rings. But your market doesn't want the other rings. The market wants the jade rings. And then you're like, oh, fuck, like, why isn't this thing selling? It's because like no one actually like wants that product, right? So then before once you validated the idea, right now, so all right, like validation. So once you validated the idea, the next step is not to like blow up ad cost and then go to the moon. The next step is like, how do I like set my like foundation and then make it stable? Because like you have a lot of things to think about. You have like customer service. What happens if something goes wrong? Obviously you have ad management, you have finance, you have supply, and then you have like logistics. Like there's so many areas in your business that can go wrong, like ads, finance, logistics, et cetera. Like, and then you got to make sure like, all of this is like, doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be at a point where you can handle significantly more scale than you have now. If you're having issues fulfilling 10 orders because you can't print out the orders fast enough, or you don't know where to go in order to go and submit 100 orders in a single day, then like obviously you shouldn't scale up, because it's like, bro, like what am I going to do if I get suddenly I shoot off ad spend, it takes off, it goes viral, and then I can't fulfill any of these orders. You need to make sure that you have that like future vision of success like set up, so you can actually handle all of that success when it comes. Like you have the capacity to do that. At least know the plan. So it's like, okay, maybe if the business does really well, what I need to do is like, I need to go set up a business account with Ozpost. And then what I need to do is I need to register to get a delivery driver to come through and pick up my 200 orders. And then you're like, okay, now I know the exact process. I have it step by step. When it happens, I'm prepared. Like I know what to do. I already have a business account set up. All I have to do is literally call them like when it happens. and I'm
Mm.
ready. Like I'm ready for that. So yeah, once you figure that out, then you can figure out like, you know, about scaling and taking things to the next level.
Yeah.
And whatnot. But yeah, that's essentially a really like quick 20-30 minute course, I guess, on, you know, the stages of being an entrepreneur, finding your
Mhm.
passion, validating your idea first,
Yeah.
creating lots of creative. You can't fabricate demand, and then making sure your foundation is stable before you scale up and go to the moon and make some of this yummy, yummy Monopoly money right here.
No, that's been very informative. No, that was good. Yeah, I feel like took a lot away from this. Was the thing. Yeah, no, thank you for that.